Joey Logano wins. There's drama with William Byron, and several contenders have bad days. All that and more coming up next. What is going on, everybody? If I haven't earned your subscription, hopefully today is the day I will earn that subscription. All right, Joey Logano wins. I've already covered the drama with him and William Byron. But to recap it real quick, he gave William Byron a serious shot to pass him to win the race. That caused William Byron to wreck. Joey Logano said it was retaliation for getting pinched into the wall earlier in the race. So it was definitely on purpose. So he wrecked him to win, and afterwards there was drama. I think it was 100% because of the point system, the playoff system. Joey Logano just wanted to lock himself into the playoffs with a win, and I don't think there was anything more to it than that. And I think going forward, if you're Joey Logano, you have to worry about some kind of retaliation in the playoffs. And if you're William Byron, at some point you have to retaliate, because if not, you're going to keep getting bullied. I think there's really not much more to it than that. So we will go ahead and skip past that because, like I said, I've already made a whole video on that. If you want to check that out, it is right after this video. But like I said, a bunch of contenders had really bad races. Probably two of the fastest cars in the field were Kyle Larson and Ross Chastain. Kyle Larson spun out and eventually blew an engine, possibly related, possibly not. But either way, probably the fastest or second fastest car of the day blows an engine. Ross Chastain definitely had one of the fastest cars today. And at the beginning of the final stage, where the concrete or where the asphalt transitions, I should say, he caught it wrong and he spun himself out and wrecked, took himself out. So probably, in my opinion, the two fastest cars of the days took themselves out of contention for the win and had terrible finishes. But they were not the only people who had trouble, because a lot of the guys in the Toyota camp had problems too. Martin Truex on one of the restarts got sort of caught up in some weird situation where he couldn't get going, and he stacked them up behind him. He took out himself. He took out both cars in 2311, and he also collected Eric Jones and Cole Custer. Cole Custer was in that too. So the big one happened at Darlington, right? So he took out a whole bunch of cars there. Denny Hamlin went backwards and forwards several times, but never could get it going again. So he ends up finishing in the low 20s. Aside from Richmond, Denny Hamlin has not finished in the top 10 this season. So he is having an absolutely awful season. But don't fear if you're a Denny Hamlin fan, because Tony Stewart had an absolutely awful season, and much to Carl Edwards' chagrin, he won the championship that year. He had a terrible season. So in this playoff format, you can never count a guy out. So Denny Hamlin fans, don't start stressing out just yet until the playoffs. All right, so those were the guys who had bad races. Now let's take a look at the top 10 and some guys who had some good races. Joey Logano, of course, wins. Tyler Reddick finishes second. He needed that second because he had been on a previous 2-week slump. Justin Haley third, his best finish aside from that rain-shortened win. So good run for Justin Haley. Kevin Harvick with another consistent finish here, finishes fourth. Chase Elliott rallies to fifth after wrecking in practice. Christopher Bell continues his hot streak. He is in sixth. Michael McDowell continuing to show that that team is improving. He finishes there. Stenhouse follows up with another good finish there. In eighth, Austin Dillon sneaks in again. Austin Dillon is killing it this season, sneaking in and getting these top 10s. He finishes ninth. And Daniel Suarez rounds out the top 10. Eric Almirola, Ty Dillon, William Byron ends up 13th. And Harrison Burton and Todd Gilliland round out your top 15. And special shout out to Cody Ware and that Rick Ware Racing Equipment. He finishes 19th. So good run for Cody Ware. I got to give him credit where credit's due. And I know a lot of people are like, well, half the field was out. Yeah, but Cody Ware still finished 19th. So good run for him. All right, like I said, because of how this race had a bunch of contenders caught up in wrecks or just having bad runs altogether, it shook up the points. So let's look at the points real quick. Chase Elliott continues to lead. He has about a 65-point advantage over William Byron, Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano, Ross Chastain, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr., Alex Bowman, Kyle Larson, and Christopher Bell round out your top 10. And then it gets interesting from there because you've got Kevin Harvick, Eric Almirola, Chase Briscoe, and now Austin Dillon in 14th would be the last man in on points, because 15th and 16th, which are occupied by Tyler Reddick and Eric Jones, would be taken away for Austin Cindric and Denny Hamlin, who are outside of the top 16 in points, but do have wins. Daniel Suarez, Austin Cindric, and Chris Buescher all in the mix. I think it is less than 35 points or so from 18th all the way up to that 13th spot. So definitely there will be a lot of action at the cutoff line. But as it stands now, Tyler Reddick's still out of the playoffs, even with that second place finish. So he has some work to do. A loss at Bristol turning out to be even bigger. And I've mentioned that because it kind of shows you why Joey Logano felt like he had to race like that. Because if Tyler Reddick had won that race in Bristol, he'd be locked in. He wouldn't be in this stressful situation. So Joey Logano has that mindset that I'm going to go ahead and lock myself in so I don't have to worry about situations like this. That's why he doesn't care about anybody booing him or anything like that. He's like, I'm doing my job. I'm locked in. I'm going to keep my job as a race car driver by continuing to lock myself into the playoffs and get wins. That is 100% my take on the Joey Logano situation, just to sort of put it to rest and be done with it. All right, that is all I've got for you today. If you like the content, feel free to subscribe down below. If you got a comment, leave it down in the comments sections, and I'll try to get to as many as I can. And other than that, thanks for your time. Peace.